Anybody that's going through something, I'm here to tell you, man, look, y'all was probably feeling for us and swearing that we ain't know what he was gonna do, his mind gone crazy. Listen, man, I've been dealing with trauma all my life, man. It just so happened this is new to me because I never had a rib to leave me. But I'm here to tell you as a firm believer, man, God makes no mistakes. Don't question nothing. Don't even question what we going through. Because we're going to go through it and get through it, because my God is going to give us the strength to get through it. You dig what I'm saying?
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Zach. Yes, my name has been in the tabloid media and understandably sensationalized given the circumstances. I want to clarify certain facts that have not been reported and are public knowledge. Please understand that due to patient privacy laws and out of respect for all my patients, there will never be mention of specifics now or in the future of any of my cases. As many of you know firsthand, my reputation in Miami for safety is exemplary. I am not willing to operate without exception on any patient if my preoperative protocols for medical clearance are not wholly met. That means another physician of the patient's choosing examines the patient and verifies that patient's fitness for surgery in conjunction with other tests and labs that I request. This is a standard protocol to ensure all aspects of a patient's health are medically considered. Since graduating from my plastic surgery residency at Brown University, I have operated on 2,000 patients, which is roughly 6,000 hours in the operating room. Every procedure is always performed to the highest medical standard, and our safety protocols are diligently observed by my entire team.
In the world of social media, a carefully curated image can create influence, shape trends, and inspire millions. Followers often see the highlights, success, family, and rewards of online recognition. But behind the images lies a growing industry promising enhancement, transformation, and perfection. An industry many step into without fully seeing its risks. In 2023, a well-known figure in the influencer space traveled to Miami, a city often described as a hub of cosmetic procedures. There, she made a decision that would set the stage for a chain of events no one close to her could have anticipated. She was not a newcomer to public life. She was a mother, a businesswoman, and someone who had built a recognizable presence online. Her next step was one she believed would align with the image she presented and the opportunities that came with it. The choice involved one of the most sought-after cosmetic procedures in recent years, a procedure promoted as routine, yet carrying risks that are not always fully discussed. The surgeon she placed her trust in was known in the area, and the appointment seemed like another step in a lifestyle that thrived on visibility and appearance. What followed behind closed doors would not be seen on her social media feed. Instead, it would unfold in a way that raised questions far beyond one individual. Questions about the hidden dangers of medical shortcuts, about the influence of image culture, and about how far trust can extend when health is on the line. This is a story of decision made in Miami, the procedure that followed, and the consequences that left many searching for answers. If you enjoy real crime stories that uncover the truth, don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us share real cases, spread awareness, and give a voice to those who can't speak for themselves. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Uncovered, where we examine the cases that shake communities and expose what happened behind closed doors. Real stories, real people, real impact. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Jacqueline Smith, better known as Jacky Oh, was born on November 3rd, 1990, in Oakland, California. She grew up in a working-class environment, raised primarily by her father after losing her mother at a young age. Her upbringing shaped her drive for independence and ambition. After completing her education, she moved toward opportunities that combined entertainment, entrepreneurship, and social influence. Her public recognition began when she appeared on MTV's improv comedy show, Wild 'N Out, where she was introduced as one of the Wild 'N Out girls. This platform provided her with visibility and the chance to build a strong following on social media. She quickly transitioned from being part of the show into cultivating her own digital identity. Through Instagram, YouTube, and other platforms, she built a lifestyle brand centered on beauty, family, and business ventures. Beyond her influencer presence, Jacky Oh developed her own line of beauty products. She marketed lip glosses and other cosmetics under her personal brand, which contributed to her reputation as both an entrepreneur and public figure. This ability to merge entertainment with commerce allowed her to sustain her career even outside traditional media. Her personal life also attracted attention. She formed a long-term relationship with comedian and fellow Wild 'N Out cast member DC Youngfly. Together, they became parents of 3 children, sharing glimpses of family life online. The balance between raising children, managing business pursuits, and maintaining an influencer image presented her as someone who could manage multiple roles. Jacky Oh's online presence highlighted beauty standards, luxury, and entrepreneurship. Her followers saw curated images of a mother balancing her career and her family, with aesthetics and lifestyle as central themes. She became a figure who symbolized both modern motherhood and the pursuit of social media success. How much of an influencer's life do you think is shaped by public expectation rather than personal choice? Miami has become one of the most recognized centers for cosmetic surgery in the United States. The city is often marketed as a global hub for beauty transformations, with thousands of clinics and surgeons promoting procedures aimed at reshaping the body. The combination of tourism, marketing, and medical services has turned Miami into a destination where people from across the country travel for surgical enhancements. One of the most requested operations in this region is the Brazilian butt lift BBL. This procedure involves removing fat from one part of the body, typically the abdomen, thighs, or back, through liposuction and transferring into the buttocks to create a fuller, more contoured appearance. Among influencers and public figures, the BBL has been portrayed as a popular method of achieving certain body ideals. Although highly sought after, the BBL carries serious medical risks. Studies have shown that compared to other cosmetic procedures, the BBL has one of the highest mortality rates. Complications can arise if fat is injected incorrectly, leading to blockages in blood vessels or severe internal damage. While many clinics market the surgery as safe and routine, the statistics reveal it demands highly specialized skill and caution. In Miami, aggressive advertising plays a large role in attracting patients. Clinics rely on social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to promote discounted offers, before and after photos, and testimonials. These marketing strategies often downplay the potential dangers, instead framing the surgery as a straightforward pathway to achieving a desired appearance. Influencers, with their large platforms, amplify these messages, making the procedure appear more common and accessible than it actually is. The cosmetic surgery industry in Miami highlights a tension between marketing and medical reality. While clinics emphasize transformation and affordability, the underlying risks remain a concern for health officials and medical associations. Would you ever trust a clinic based only on its online promotions and reviews? In May 2023, Jacky Oh traveled to Miami to undergo a BBL procedure with a surgeon who had been actively promoting his services online. The surgeon, Dr. Jacky Oh, also known publicly as Dr. Zach, had built his reputation through social media exposure and a clinic known as PH1 Miami. His promotion materials often feature transformations and endorsements that appealed to patients seeking cosmetic changes. Dr. Oh's credentials included medical training and board certification. However, his reputation faced scrutiny due to past controversies. There were reports of dissatisfied patients, complications, and lawsuits involving his practice. While not uncommon in the high-volume cosmetic surgery market of Miami, such histories often raise questions about oversight, patient safety, and accountability within the industry. The preparation for Jacky Oh's procedure likely followed standard protocols: consultation, medical clearance, and scheduling. Patients undergoing BBL surgeries are typically advised about anesthesia, fat extraction, and transfer methods. However, many critics argue that clinics sometimes minimize discussions about risks to secure patient consent. The BBL procedure itself involves precise medical steps. Fat is removed from selected areas using liposuction. This fat is then purified before being injected into the buttocks. For safe results, fat must only be placed above the muscle. Injecting below the muscle or too deeply into blood vessels can result in embolisms, which can be fatal. Medical guidelines stress the importance of small cannulas, careful monitoring, and a limit on fat volume. In ideal circumstances, a BBL should be performed in a surgical center equipped with emergency resources. Full monitoring of vital signs and immediate access to hospital-level care are critical safeguards. However, some cosmetic clinics lack advanced equipment, relying instead on outpatient facilities that may not be prepared for complications. The circumstances of Jacky Oh's case raise questions about whether all recommended safety measures were followed. While her decision reflected trust in the surgeon and the procedure's popularity, the aftermath indicated that critical complications emerged. How often do patients research the medical history of their chosen surgeons before agreeing to surgery? On the morning of her scheduled operation, Jacky Oh arrived in Miami and checked into the clinic chosen for her cosmetic procedure. The check-in process at such clinics generally involve a review of paperwork, confirmation payment, and a standard preoperative assessment. Patients are usually asked about their medical history, any allergies, and recent health conditions. According to reports, these steps were completed before she was prepared for surgery. The Brazilian butt lift procedure itself typically follows a specific timeline. First, liposuction is performed on targeted areas of the body, such as the abdomen, back, or thighs. The extracted fat is then processed and purified before being injected into the buttocks to create the desired shape. On average, this surgery lasts between 2 and 4 hours, depending on the volume of fat transfer and complexity of the case. Although marketed as routine, the BBL is considered one of the riskiest elective cosmetic procedures. Potential complications include fat embolism, in which fat enters the bloodstream and travels to the lungs or heart, causing life-threatening blockages. Other risks involve excessive bleeding, infection, nerve damage, and fluid accumulation. Surgeons are expected to follow precise safety guidelines to minimize these dangers, such as controlling injection depth and ensuring proper monitoring throughout the process. During her surgery, a sequence of medical decisions was made at each stage: where to extract fat, how to process it, and how much to inject into specific areas. Each of these choices carried weight, as improper techniques can elevate risks dramatically. While the full details of what occurred inside the operating room are not all public, available testimonies and records indicate that the procedure extended for several hours. Staff present at the time later gave statements describing the sequence of care provided and the moment when complications began to appear. Documents and accounts suggest that while the surgery was completed, warning signs emerged afterward. These included difficulty stabilizing vital signs and physical reactions inconsistent with a smooth recovery. What started as a standard procedure soon escalated into a critical medical situation. If a complication happens, do you think cosmetic clinics are always prepared for emergencies? In the hours following a BBL, patients are normally transferred to a recovery area. Standard practice involves monitoring vital signs, ensuring the patient can breathe independently, and checking for signs of excessive bleeding or clot formation. Patients are usually discharged the same day with compression garments and pain medication, unless complications require extended observation. In this case, the recovery process did not follow the expected path. Reports detail that shortly after surgery, her condition began to decline. Common red flags after such procedure include sudden chest pain, shortness of breath, dizziness, or a drop in oxygen levels. Each of these may indicate a fat embolism or internal bleeding. Witness statement from staff suggests that despite initial recovery steps, her health worsened rapidly. At this stage, the standard protocol should have included immediate stabilization and preparation for hospital transfer. While emergency measures were attempted, her decline continued, and emergency services were eventually contacted. The moment of escalation marked a turning point. What was anticipated as routine recovery shifted into a life-threatening emergency. Paramedics were called to the clinic, and she was transported to a hospital facility for urgent intervention. Despite efforts to resuscitate and stabilize her, the outcome was fatal. This sequence raised a pressing question about the capacity of cosmetic clinics to handle medical crises. Unlike hospitals, which are equipped with full surgical teams and advanced emergency technology, many cosmetic surgery centers are limited in their resources. The gap between elective procedure marketing and the actual ability to manage complications became a central issue in the aftermath. Should cosmetic procedures only be performed in hospitals rather than private clinics? Following her death, local authorities and medical officials began a formal investigation. The Miami Police Department collected statements from the clinic staff, while the Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's Office performed an autopsy to determine the exact cause. Official reports confirmed that her death was linked to complications arising from the surgery. The findings highlighted the presence of issues consistent with known BBL risks. These included possible fat embolism and related complications that could not be reversed despite medical intervention. The clinic involved released statements maintaining that they had followed protocols and had taken steps to address the emergency. The surgeon also provided a response, emphasizing their credentials and experience. However, public scrutiny quickly grew, fueled by media coverage and questions about whether every required safety measure had been met. Medical examiner records detailed the sequence of complications and concluded that the cause of death was directly tied to the surgical procedure. This drew attention to whether the clinic was adequately equipped to prevent such an outcome. Public records revealed that the clinic itself had faced previous inspections and that its practices had been questioned in other cases. Such findings raised concerns about oversight in the cosmetic surgery industry, particularly in Miami, which is one of the highest concentrations of BBL procedures in the United States. The investigation did not result in criminal charges, but it did lead to widespread debate about accountability. Should the responsibility rest solely on the surgeon who performed the operation? Should the clinic bear the consequences for not providing hospital-level emergency care? Or does a larger system, which allows high-risk surgeries to be marketed as safe and routine, carry equal blame? This case became a reference point in discussions about the safety of cosmetic procedures and the regulation of clinics that perform them. It underscored the gap between patient expectations shaped by social media promotion and the harsh realities of surgical risk. The news of Jacky Oh's sudden passing spread quickly across social media and mainstream outlets. Her partner, comedian DC Young Fly, was one of the first public figures to respond. His statements reflected the gravity of losing not only a long-term companion, but also the mother of his 3 children. He addressed the situation during public appearances and interviews, emphasizing the challenge of continuing daily life while raising their children under such circumstances. His words drew attention not only because of the personal loss, but also because of the larger conversation that began forming around cosmetic procedures and their hidden dangers. Fans responded with shock and disbelief. Jacky Oh had maintained a recognizable presence on social platforms, and for many of her followers, she appeared to embody stability, family, and success. The suddenness of the tragedy raised questions about the safety of procedures often marketed as routine. In comment sections and forums, conversations quickly shifted from grief to analysis. Many followers asked whether the risks of such surgeries were clearly communicated to patients and whether influencers carried an added responsibility when promoting or normalizing these procedures online. Celebrities and fellow influencers also weighed in. Some expressed condolences, while others highlighted the importance of reconsidering how beauty standards are portrayed in entertainment and online spaces. A few well-known personalities openly shared their own experiences with cosmetic surgery complications, bringing new visibility to an issue that was often kept private. Media outlets amplified these discussions, framing the case as both a personal tragedy and a societal warning. Investigative pieces highlighted the rapid rise in demand for Brazilian butt lifts, often referred to as BBLs, and pointed out the procedure's relatively high complication rate. Analysts noted how the glamour of social media posts rarely reflected the risks, recovery struggles, or potential consequences. This wave of attention increased public awareness. Health experts began using the case to educate audiences about the medical realities of BBLs. Interviews with surgeons, anesthesiologists, and researchers pointed to statistics showing that the procedure carried more risk than many other common surgeries. The tragedy became a reference point in conversations across health blogs, podcasts, and online videos. Beyond medical warnings, the case also sparked broader conversations about body image and the pressure created by influencer culture. Followers debated whether social media was encouraging dangerous standards of beauty by constantly rewarding appearance-based content with likes, comments, and brand partnerships. The tragedy highlighted the tension between online validation and personal safety. Do you think social media creates unrealistic beauty standards that push people toward dangerous choices? As the public discussion intensified, attention shifted toward the surgeon and clinic involved. Reports identified the doctor who performed the procedure, and scrutiny of a professional background began. Public records and media coverage revealed questions about his training, board certifications, and prior complaints. Health officials examined the clinic's practices, licensing, and history of compliance with medical regulations. The scrutiny also opened debate about accountability. Legal experts analyzed whether negligence or malpractice could be established. Families of patients in similar situations pointed to the challenges of pursuing cases against clinics, noting that many operate under complex corporate structures designed to limit liability. In the months following, discussions about possible lawsuits emerged. Attorneys connected to the case weighed the strength of legal claims, while observers debated whether the outcome would involve a financial settlement, a disciplinary measure against the physician, or no direct consequences at all. The complexity of malpractice litigation meant that any legal proceedings would take considerable time to resolve, and information about ongoing steps was closely watched by the public. From an official standpoint, the case reached a degree of closure when medical examiners released their findings on the cause of death. While this provided answers about what medically occurred, it did not settle the broader questions about whether the procedure was conducted under the highest safety standards or whether existing regulations were sufficient to prevent such incidents. The medical community used the case as an opportunity to call for stricter safety regulations. Professional associations highlighted the need for clear guidelines on where high-risk procedures should be performed, what qualifications surgeons must hold, and how clinics should be inspected. Proposals included requiring BBLs to take place in accredited hospitals rather than outpatient centers, mandating better emergency protocols, and ensuring that patients receive more detailed briefings on potential complications. Some policymakers echoed these calls, suggesting that cosmetic surgery should not remain an industry with limited oversight. Others argue that too much regulation could restrict access and drive procedures underground, where risks might be even greater. This debate underscored the tension between individual choice and government responsibility. Should governments regulate cosmetic surgery more tightly, or should it remain a personal choice? The story of Jacky Oh illustrates a sequence of events that began with trust placed in a medical professional and ended in a tragedy that shocked the public. From a routine appointment in Miami to the unexpected aftermath, the case shows how quickly outcomes can change when medical procedures carry risks that are not always fully acknowledged or understood. Restating the central chain of events, a well-known influencer and mother traveled for procedure, relied on a surgeon and clinic for safety, and did not survive the process. The incident drew the attention of family, fans, media, and medical professionals, eventually sparking investigations, public debates, and calls for reform. Yet, several unanswered questions remain. Could stricter oversight have prevented this case? Should surgeons performing high-risk procedures be subject to national rather than state-level standards? Are patients given enough clarity to make fully informed decisions, or are risks minimized in pursuit of profit? These questions remain unresolved, and they highlight gaps in an industry that continues to expand rapidly. The broader warning is clear. Cosmetic procedures often marketed as safe, simple, and routine carry risks that can be severe and irreversible. Behind polished advertisements and influencer promotions are medical realities that deserve greater attention. As demand for such procedures grows, the importance of transparency, regulation, and personal caution becomes even more significant. For audiences following this story, it serves as both a cautionary account and an opportunity to reconsider how social pressures and industry practices intersect with personal health. If faced with a chance to enhance appearance but with hidden risks, would you take the step or walk away? If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.